I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
And welcome back to another review. This is another Patreon request, this time for Chaz, as for the film Full-Time Killer from 2001. Now, if anyone who wants to request pretty much any type of review, movie topic, reaction, pretty much any type of video, you just send the request either directly to my PayPal or join me on my Patreon. Both links are down below. I'll try to get to it as soon as possible. But Full-Time Killer, this is a movie that, when Chaz mentioned, hey, this is a movie I'd like to request, it's kind of like Sylvester Stallone's Assassins, which it kind of is, because the plot is about this killer, this hitman that's been in the game for a while, and this younger upstart wants to kill him because he wants to be number one. So it does follow Assassins a bit. But this movie is one of the more stylish, camera work heavy films I've seen, at least the past month or two. Which, if you know me, I've been watching a lot of movies, so that is saying a lot. It wasn't exactly what I expected, and that was kind of refreshing. Because the movie is a hitman action film that's actually kind of meta when it comes to movies. And first off, when I'm talking about the camera work, one of the first things is the camera push into the grave site, and then there's a body, it pushes in, then there's a typewriter, and it types out the title of this film. There are moments where what's another... Like, the camera's always moving, it's always circling people, or rising on cranes, or if it's going to the internet, it'll go right in. And some people would get annoyed by that, but to me, it made the film interesting. Like, what's this director going to do next? You just say it's over stylized, and you'd be right, but to me, was part of the fun of it. And like in the beginning of the film, one of our hitmen does a kill. And it's an interesting way of filming a grenade. Because a grenade is dropped, and then you see like this blowback, slow motion from inside. And one of the victim's hands explodes. So it's like, and then the hand's like, and then you get the rest of the explosion. I'm like, whoa, shit. Okay, like this first 10 minutes, I'm like, this isn't the typical film I thought it was going to be. And the younger hitman is a fan of movies. He's referencing, oh, this movie about a guy who has a guitar. I'm like, is he referencing El Mariachi? Is he referencing Desperado? Another point, Point Break, where there's this girl working at a video store, and she knows the more accomplished hitman. The hitman that's been in the game for a while, his name is O. The other guy, I'm bad with names. I forgot his name. I'll just say the younger hitman. Knows that this girl knows the old hitman, so he comes in each day, but he wears a president mask. It's a different one. So he'll wear like a Richard Nixon mask, and he'll wear another mask. And then ultimately he wears like a George Clinton. Didn't know he was president. A Bill Clinton mask. And then, like with the style and the weirdness, he asks a girl out on a date, and he talks about how he loves movie trailers, and even a bad movie can have a good trailer. And he has the Bill Clinton mask on. And then when the girl looks back, the mask is off, and it's, the guy's face. So you have this movie that's kind of like the film Assassins, but again, it has this meta stuff and camera work that's just going all over the place. And you have that Hong Kong, little bit of John Woo, stylized action with the gunfights. I think there's even a reference to Crying Freeman, because the younger assassin, remember, if you've seen Crying Freeman, there's a bit where Mark Dacascos, he jumps up and he's shooting these guys while he has a mask on, while this opera, like classical music, I should say, is happening in the background. This guy almost does the same bit, only he's using a shotgun, and the mask he's wearing is the Bill Clinton mask. And I'm like, is this like a reference to Crying Freeman? So stuff like that is interesting. And then also how they based the different characters, where the old character is much more reserved. He's a bit more serious about his history. The lighting during his scenes are kind of in darkness or a bit more blue, while the younger guy is a bit more vibrant, energetic, and thus you get more of more vibrant colors in his scenes. Simon Yam, who he's been in quite a few stuff. He was in some John Woo films, including Bullet in the Head. He was in Wake of Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He was the main villain in that. I have reviews of both of those on the channel for those interested. And neither guy are particularly good guys. They've murdered innocent people. So yeah, there's a part of my brain going, well, I don't give a shit which one of you live or die, because you're both killers. So it's hard for me to really root for either of you, because, again, technically neither of you deserve to live. And maybe that just accounts to different tastes. But sometimes I could go along with it if it's an interesting enough story, or if it's like Reservoir Dogs, the cast is fairly interesting, then the Tarantino dialogue. Here, it was just so stylistic, made me wonder what the hell was going to happen next. How much should I give away is what I'm wondering. Like I said, the camera is always moving. There's a point where the cops are talking. Simon Yam is one of the investigators. And while they're talking, the camera like shifts all the way down to the floor below to make us realize one of the killers is listening to the cops. Again, that may be labeled as too over stylistic, but to me, it makes it a bit more fun. Now, yes, that could be used and abused badly. There's always exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, I'm usually fine with that, because movies are a visual medium. Go for it. Let's see where your imagination, your mind takes you, as well as us, the audience. It seemed like for the first half of the film, you were not really getting a lot of the older killer. It felt like the older hitman, like the more experienced hitman, I should say. It didn't seem like he was in the film much in the first half of this movie. It seemed more about the younger hitman story, because it's him meeting this girl at the video store and him doing the hits, like the one that's kind of like Crying Freeman and some other stuff. So maybe in the first half it would have been nice to see, maybe do a few more hits of his own, or maybe a few more scenes of him trying to do hits, and then there's one where he's trying to do a hit and the guy's trying to fuck with him on it, try to, I just get the hit before him or sabotage the hit. But maybe a few more bits of that would have been nice. Or maybe just like a few more scenes of the old character. Because again, it seemed like for the first half of the film, there'd be a few times I'd be like, is he in the film anymore? Because it felt like it was more the younger guy and the girl who worked at the video store. And she knows, the older guy, because she's one of his cleaning ladies for his rooms. Spoiler alert, I gotta go into spoilers starting now. The third act of this film is very strange. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Part of me, I enjoy it because it was interesting and a bit unique, but maybe it was a bit too unique, maybe it was a bit too much for this film, that to me already had enough interesting, creative, stylish stuff to begin with. Maybe this was a little too far, because you did this massive, maybe not that massive, but you did a pretty decent scene where our hitmen are dealing with the cops and dealing with like fire hose, distracting the cops, getting from point A to point B. One's in sniper position. One's helping the other because like they want to go mano a mano. So they take out all these cops. Which then makes you go, why should I care about these characters? Which is a good point. And then for like the last 20 minutes, it shifts completely to Simon Yam's character, the police officer, which he appeared like once in a while in the film. But then the fact that third act completely shifts to him, where because of his cops dying, he goes crazy, he quits his job, he hallucinates one of the hitmen who tells him go write a book. So he starts writing the book, but the book does have an ending. Then the girl from the video store comes by and is like, I'm going to tell you what happened. And she tells a story about this firefight in a firework factory, which, considering what the film was doing before, there has to be some meta stuff to this, because the fact that, a film like this has to have a big, bombastic ending. So of course it's in a fucking firework factory, where it's literally gets to a point where one is on top firing and the other is up top firing, with all these empty boxes or just regular boxes, because that's the thing with a lot of these, the typical cliche movies is, of course you gotta have the boxes. Even Angry Video Game Nerd, he would make fight scenes where a person flies back in the boxes. I'm like, there has to be some kind of meta stuff going on with this. And then it's this big spectacle with this classical music. And again, this is spoilers. She tells a story that the younger hitman won and O was killed. So he writes it. And then she leaves. He follows her and he sees someone else with her in a car that looks like O, the older guy. And then either in his mind or just the movie giving us, the audience, showing what really happened. What really happened at the end of the fight was not the younger guy winning, but an unexpected event. That it did establish the younger guy had an epileptic problem. So I guess what really happened was you went through the whole firefight, they're both blasting at each other, but the fireworks created this epileptic thing that gave him a seizure, fell down, and then O took advantage and killed him. And that's what I mean, where, and the movie literally ends with him typing the end, Simon Yam's character. So it is a fairly meta movie, and I think there will be people who feel that it just goes a bit too far with that. That I don't think you needed Simon Yam to be the focus when he's really been kind of nothing up to this point. And even though I can't say I like the characters, I'm still interested because I thought the actors did their jobs well. I'm kind of interested to see where this mano a mano is heading. And granted, they did it in a different way. They did it in a bit more creative way. So part of me is fairly impressed with that because I'll tell you one thing, this movie was not what I predicted, was not what I thought it was going to be. And in this age and era where so many things are fucking predictable is rather refreshing. I thought, okay, it's going to be assassins, but with the Hong Kong action, curious. But no, this other weird, crazy, stylish stuff happened. I'm like, okay, this is pretty nice. Overall, I did enjoy the film because of that. But, and granted, the old character, he did feel remorse for his past, which I think they could have done a bit more with that in the first half. Because again, the first half of the film seemed like the old character almost disappeared at points. So I think that could have been improved. Like a few more scenes of him contemplating. Even Stallone's Assassins, I would say, did that portion better. Where, yeah, Sylvester Stallone is a killer, he's a hitman, but he still seemed at least a little bit likable. Maybe because I'm a big Sylvester Stallone fan. I still did kind of like the character, even though he was a hitman and assassin. Here, the actors did their jobs well, but you can't really say you like the characters, and the movie's not really telling you to like the characters, but I don't know. At least it was an interesting enough story that was being told. But I would like a few more instances of the old character in the first half. And again, the third act, I'm not sure if I would have chosen Simon Yam, that whole weird thing. Again, it makes it interesting. Almost like a Hong Kong version of The Usual Suspects. But like I said, if you like Hong Kong action movies with your firepower and your slow-mo, and which I do, movie went at a good fast pace. The actors did their jobs well. It's very stylish. The camera seems like it's always moving. And like I said, there's a lot of, I'm sure there's stuff I missed just as the first time watching it. I'm going, where's this movie going? Which was, again, like I said, kind of refreshing. I must admit, I did like the whole big firefight in the firework factory, because again, with how meta it was before, I'm like, okay, there's something to this. Where maybe the bad guy set this up because he's such a fan of movies, and the younger guy, that it's gotta have a big finale. So yeah, the fireworks and the classical music. And that was interesting. That was interesting. So overall, I did like it quite a bit because of that stuff. So if you haven't seen it and you like these kind of action films, but have a bit more uniqueness to them than your typical flick, like I said, give this a watch. I know I gave it away, but I did say spoilers. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later.